What's up, everybody? This is Carl from Techful Goodies, and today we're doing a little test using a 4K monitor. So INNOCN contacted me and said, hey, would you like to try out one of our 4K monitors? And after talking to them, I wanted to try out one of their refurbished items because I'm always sort of one of those people that kind of is a proponent for buying refurbished items. I do it all the time. I have laptops, tablets, stuff like that I get that are refurbished. And I usually have a really good experience. So what I figured I'd do was talk to them and have them send me over one of their 4K monitors that is a refurbished monitor. And what we'll do is we will scrutinize this device to see how good the refurbished device itself is. Okay. So I spent a lot of time with this. And the first thing that I did was kind of inspect the packaging that it came in. Now, the packaging that it came in was actually not too bad. But again, when it comes to shipping and devices like this, you always have a situation where during the shipping, the box might get damaged a little bit. Now, that doesn't matter as long as your packaging on the inside is good. So in opening up the box and bringing out the different parts of the monitor itself, they had very strong, sturdy styrofoam in there holding the monitor together, as well as good packaging and protection for all the individual pieces to make sure they didn't get dinged up. So showing some close-ups here of the monitor itself after I got it out of the box. You can see that everything looks really nice. There doesn't seem to be any sort of marks or dings on the device itself. So then I went ahead and set to setting it up. Now, the cool thing about it was that it only came with 3 easy pieces to put together. I didn't have to get a screwdriver out or a wrench out or anything like that. They just sort of popped together, and the base had a built-in screw that allowed me to just sort of hand tighten it down, and I was good to go. So as you can see here, the base and the monitor itself looks really nice. Again, when it comes to refurbished devices, sometimes I'm a little bit concerned that you might end up seeing some scratches or dings or issues with it, and that's just not the case, so I was pretty happy with that. As far as kind of the features of the monitor itself, I really like it when a monitor has an adjustable height and angle that you can change it to. As you can see here, I can change the height of the monitor itself, and I can also change the angle, and that's great for me who's a little bit taller. That allows me to set it where I want and then bring that height up if I want to do that. As far as the cables that it came with a DVI cable, a HDMI cable, a power cable, and it came with a USB 3.0 cable. Now, the purpose of this cable is to allow you to have pass-through. A lot of monitors might have USB ports on them, and this one does. What you are able to do is then use that USB 3 cable to hook it up to the back of the monitor, and that gives you kind of a hub where you can plug in your USB-A devices. As far as the I/O on the back goes, you do have 2 USB ports. You do have the USB 3.0 port, which is that USB-B in that you can use. You do also have a Type-C port on the back. You have a display port, 2 HDMI ports, an audio out, and a DC in for powering the device itself. When I got done inspecting the monitor to make sure it was a good quality product that was received as a refurbished product, I was really happy with the quality of the product itself and that everything that it came with. I wanted to go ahead and plug it in and do some tests. This is my first sort of 4K monitor other than my TV, so I kind of wanted to put it in the paces and test the screen. Everything else can be fine, but if that screen isn't good, then there's going to be an issue. So what I went ahead and did was did a monitor test cycle. It just shows a bunch of different things on the screen and allows you to kind of test the monitor out to make sure all the pixels are working and all the resolution and how fast your refresh rate is, because it does have not only the 4K resolution, but it has a 160 hertz refresh rate, which is super important when you're playing games and watching videos, just to get that higher refresh rate on the screen. So in terms of some of the features of the monitor itself, it is a 27-inch 4K UHD monitor using mini LED. It has a 160 hertz refresh rate, which is awesome for when you're playing games, gives you that higher refresh rate for snappier response. And it also has a 1 millisecond response time. It is obviously an IPS panel, which should be standard nowadays. So you have a large viewing range from left to right, so as you go to the side, it doesn't sort of blank out the screen. It is HDR 1000 compatible and 99% DCI-P3, which should give you that real rich and accurate color replication. So after I did the pixel physical test and the screen test. I was happy with the screen and happy with the outer shell. So refurbished device, check passed. I was good to go. Now I actually wanted to put it to the test. So I booted up Elden Ring, which is one of my favorite games, popped it up to a 4K resolution and high settings on my computer that I have that has my better graphics card in it, and ran around a little bit, and I was just absolutely blown away with how it looked. It was my first opportunity to really play it at 4K. I usually keep the resolution a little bit lower just to make sure that I have good response time, but it was just such a nice experience to run around, and the colors looked great and the screen looked awesome. So after I did that, I wanted to go ahead and test some 4K videos on YouTube. In this video, you'll get a chance to see some of the high quality color and resolution that comes out of this monitor, as well as hear a little bit of the speakers that it has. Now, when it comes to speakers and a monitor, that's usually an afterthought, but these sounded pretty good. But again, it's not going to get anywhere near what you would get from external speakers or a soundbar or something like that. But what I wanted to do mainly was give you an idea of how the screen looked and how far I could zoom in and kind of capture how deep and clear and crisp this monitor actually looked. And one other thing that I didn't actually notice at first, but on the back there is some RGB. I only noticed that kind of after I turned off the lights in the room to get a little bit better sort of camera on how that screen looked. But if you look on the back here, it does have a little bit of a soft glow, which gives you a little bit of ambiance, which I actually prefer. So it helps that screen pop out in kind of a dark room and would look great if you were doing something like streaming or recording. But all in all, across the board, I was really impressed by this monitor. And I think that, you know, some of the flagship features that I really enjoyed, obviously, was the 4K, as well as the 160 hertz refresh rate. I mean, having a higher refresh rate means so much. And 160 is kind of above and beyond, in my opinion. Now, let's talk about the refurbished nature of the device itself. Across the board, shipping was fine, packaging was fine, everything looked good. There wasn't any nicks, there wasn't any problems. You can make your own decision on whether or not you want to use refurbished items, but in this particular case, I think that it really was a success. So anyway, I hope this helped you out. I think this was a great monitor. I'm looking forward to using it. Thanks to INNOCN for sending them over. I really appreciate that because I love to be able to share stuff like this with you and then use it in my studio to only benefit my video recordings in the future. Other than that, if it did help you, give me a like, thumbs up that button down below, subscribe. I'd love to see you back. I'm just a tech guy, informally testing out tech. If we like it, we like it. If we don't, we don't. But other than that, this is Carl from Techful Goodies, and I'm out.